So here recently, my friends over at BougeRV sent out another cooler for me to try out and test. Now this is their CR30 model, and this is a 30 quart cooler. It's got a couple of really cool features I want to show you here in this video. So stay tuned, let's take a look at this thing together, and then you can make a decision whether this might be the right cooler for you or not. So the first thing, let's go ahead and take a look at this display panel here. It's a pretty simple setup. Now this can run on 110 and it can also run on 12 volt systems. It gives you a lot of portability as to where you can actually take this cooler and where you can use it at. So the first thing you're going to notice on this screen is a power button. When you get the thing plugged in, you hit your power button, it's going to illuminate your screen for you. Then it's also got a settings button. Now that settings button is going to do a couple things for you. You're going to be able to adjust whether you want it to be in max mode or eco mode, and then you can also adjust the battery protection. Let's take a second to talk about what that means. So in your eco mode, it's an economy efficiency mode, and that's going to only consume about 36 watts of power. Whereas in that max efficiency mode, you're going to be somewhere around the 45 watts of power consumption on that setting itself. Now when I talk about battery protection mode, what does that mean? So basically when you got this thing running on a 12 volt battery, like the battery that's in this vehicle, you can set this in a low, medium, or high setting. And what that's going to do for you is you want to make sure after you've been running this thing for hours, maybe right at the amusement park or the water park, when you get back, you want the vehicle to start, right? If you put that in the high protection mode, basically it's going to shut the freezer off and not let it use any more of the battery in the vehicle. So when you come out, you know your vehicle's going to start. Now you've also got a medium and you've got a low setting as well. On the opposite end of that spectrum would be the low setting. And what that's going to do is once this cooler sees that 9.6 volts, it's going to shut itself off at that point as well, which could or could not leave your vehicle stranded depending on your vehicle and the strength of your battery, or how much it takes to start your vehicle for that matter, which isn't usually a big deal as long as you've got a jump starter pack on you. But honestly, none of us want to have to come out and jump start our vehicles when we're done. So take your pick as to which of those battery protection levels would fit you the best, and you got the option to pick which one works for you. Now you've also got a plus and a minus on the screen as well. That's obviously going to adjust your temperature. Now you can set this to Fahrenheit and or Celsius, just depending on where in the country or where in the world you live. So take a pick as to which one of those numbers you can do, and you can change that setting by simply holding down the plus and the settings button for 3 seconds, and it'll switch that back and forth for you. So that's really all there is to running this screen and how this thing works as far as that goes. Now what's really cool about this, like I mentioned, is you have a 12 volt, which I've got it running right here on the outlet on the back of my wife's vehicle right now. What I really like about the 12 volt plug is that they ran the cord out the bottom at 90 degrees versus running it straight out the end. Kind of helps protect the cord and helps you save some space as well. Now the one thing I was really hoping when I got this 30 quart cooler was that it was also going to fit in the back of my wife's Tahoe, because the smaller unit that we've got and we've been using for a couple months now fits the back of this vehicle almost perfectly. I'm happy to say that even with this 30 quart cooler, I could put this thing right here in the middle of the hatchback here, and I could still shut the door with no problems at all. It clears perfectly. So if you're a Tahoe owner, or if you're someone else that battles the really narrow space back here in the cargo area, that might be a plus for you, and you've got a pretty good shot at this thing fitting in the back of your vehicle as well. It was really important to us because we wanted to be able to still use the third row seats, especially for taking people with us, but we still wanted to be able to have a cooler back here that could store a decent amount of drinks and or snacks, depending on where we're going that day. And this 30 quart cooler is going to be perfect for that. Now one other cool feature I want to talk to you guys about on this cooler is that you can also add a battery bank to this thing as well, and essentially you could take this out to the ball field and run off this battery bank for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours at a time with no problem. So this little battery here is an add-on. You can bundle it with your cooler, and what's cool about it is you not only can you run your cooler off this, but look on the end here, you've got USB-C and a USB-A that you can run and charge like a device while you're out on the field or whatever it is with no problem at all. Now I did run a couple tests on this battery. It's got a 220 watt hour battery capacity to it, but I wanted to see just how long it could run this freezer. So we tried a couple different tests just to see how long the battery by itself would run the cooler. The first test I ran was just in the house, 70-degree ambient temperature, and I ran it in the eco mode at 30 degrees, and I wanted to see how long that'd run. 24.5 hours is what I was able to run this cooler at 30 degrees in that condition. Now obviously if you're running this thing in the vehicle and it's 100 degrees outside, the compressor's cycling on and off a lot more frequently, you're not going to get that kind of runtime out of it. But if you're just wanting to basically keep drinks cool and it's, you know, a 70-degree day outside, that's kind of a testament as to how long you could actually get this cooler to run. Let's just call that in ideal settings in this case. Now I also did want to run one test just to see how long the cooler would run if I was running this thing a little harder. We're not really in the summer months yet, so I can't run it in like a 100-degree day. So I ran the same test inside at a 70-degree, basically ambient temperature, but I ran it in the max efficiency mode, and I ran it at 0 degrees and essentially operated it as a freezer. And I was able to get about 7.5 hours of runtime out of it still, even at that. If you're running this thing, let's just say 28 degrees on like an 80-degree day, you may only get 5 hours of runtime out of it, but if you're out on the ball field, maybe your kids had a double header that day, this battery should get you more than through your event and get you back to your vehicle, and then even then, you should still be able to plug in your 12 volt when you get back on the road and keep those drinks cold from there. It does take a little bit of time to get this thing charged up when the battery's dead. Now that's going to depend as well as to what power supply you're plugging this thing into. So if you've got like a 70-watt charger versus like a, I don't know, a 23-watt charger, you want to use the highest rapid charger, I guess, that you got available to be able to charge this thing up the quickest. So take that for what it's worth. Honestly, this little battery bank has been awesome, and it is a little bit of an investment up front, but in my opinion, I guess if you're going to go out to the beach or if you're out on the ball fields, like I said, and you're out there every weekend, this thing could probably more than pay for itself, in my opinion. At least for us and our family, with our kids playing soccer and the trips that we take, this is going to be an awesome add-on to be able to have available to us when we're using our little cooler. Now on the inside of this cooler here, it's a 30 quart capacity. What's also kind of cool about that is if you're out in the dark, first thing in the morning or late at night, whatever it might be, it does have a little light built into the side here as well. So when you open the door, you've actually got a little bit of light there that you can see what you're actually dragging and pulling out of your cooler. Not to mention, it's also got this nice little partition wall here. It's not a dual zone cooler like some of the ones that are on the market these days, but nonetheless, if you want to put drinks on one side and maybe like some sandwiches or various snacks on the other side, you could divide those out pretty easily, or take that partition wall out altogether, just depending on what your needs are for the day. Now, something else that's probably notable to talk about too is just how much sound this thing makes. So I was kind of curious. I put my sound meter on it just to get an idea of what the sound level coming out of this is, and it was right around 50 dB. So honestly, that's really nothing at all. And to kind of give you an idea, you're going to hear a light hum coming out of it. Now, if it's out at the ball fields or if you're in a noisy environment, you're never going to be able to hear this thing run. If it's in the back of your vehicle like it is right now, and you guys are all in there, radios on and talking, you're probably not going to hear it then either, to be honest. But if you're in a perfectly quiet room, you're probably going to hear just a light hum. But honestly, you could talk over this thing no problems at all with ease. And that's something that was really important to me as well. So really, I think BougeRV hit it out of the park with this little cooler, to be honest. Having the capability to add that little battery in here and be able to put it in the storage compartment right here so that it all kind of runs together and you can just kind of carry it around and to me was a great idea. With this cooler being dry and having the battery in it as well, it only weighs 27.5 pounds. So when you fully load it up, you might be pushing the 40 to 45 pound mark, depending on what you load in here and go with. But either way, I think it's a great little cooler. You can take a look at it and see what you think and see if it's worth the investment for you guys or not. But other than that, that's all I've got for you in this video today. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. We'll catch you on the next one.